Hello and welcome to the Drummergy podcast, episode 169.
Whoa.
And the Drummergy podcast is the live and interactive show about life and music.
Yeah.
So welcome. We have the producer here in the other room.
Hello, good morning.
Really cool. Finally, it's been 60 days. And so now Facebook is allowing me to stream live to the Drummergy podcast Facebook page.
Woohoo.
I didn't know that was going to be a little hang up when we first got that page going.
It's kind of weird.
That we'd have to wait 60 days. I guess it's part of Facebook's way of saying, is this page legitimate?
Sure.
And it is. So here we are. We're no longer live streaming to the Fred Rock School of Drumming, although I'm still sporting that. I just want to make that page more dedicated to education. So there you go with that. And producer,
You forgot to put a light on and you're really dark.
Oh, I have a light on. Now, see, this is where we're going to go. All crazy. Nothing's correct. Oh, I hear her digging around. That light doesn't work. Tell her. That other light doesn't work. Oh.
Why would I grab a light that doesn't work? Why are we keeping it?
I don't know. We're gonna let the producer do her thing while we keep moving forward. The Drummergy podcast is sponsored by 12th Fret Music. I know she's going to come right back through that door in a second. It's sponsored by 12th Fret Music, located at 671 South Capitol Boulevard in downtown Boise, Idaho. And 12th Fret Music is the Pacific Northwest's largest inventory of new, used, and vintage guitars, basses, and amps. And hopefully soon, drumsticks and drumheads. That's I got some used drumheads. Let's see. Do you need help? This is distracting.
Why are you talking to me when I'm not even...
Because it's all part of the show now. It's all part of the show. Here we go.
Here we go.
Whoa. That is a big light.
Yeah, what the heck?
What are you trying to do?
Maybe I should have this on.
Oh, this show is a very professional show, as you can tell. Very professional. That's how we roll here at FM Studios.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be so bright.
It is going to be very bright.
But wow. You look sunburned and dark. Look how dark you look.
Just on this side of my face. Oh, there's a producer.
She snuck in.
Oh, now everybody's going to know that my brick wall is not real.
Oh.
They're all going to realize it's just a fabrication. It's a piece of fabric with a picture of a wall on it.
Gosh.
Oh, man. We're breaking the fourth wall here. Is that what they call the fourth wall?
Oh, that's bright. What?
Wow, what are you doing? It's completely off the rails.
Oh my
now this looks worse.
How did you get... Why are you...
Is this better? Can you see me now? Can you see me? I'm completely lit up. I look so much. Look how handsome I am. Whoa. You know Wayne? Remember Wayne's World?
My stomach hurt a lot.
Wayne's World, where it's just a complete trash show that somebody liked and they're going to make a bunch of money off of.
All right, move
it looks
after
worse.
I get out of the door. Well, yeah, I have to get out because.
Yes, please get out.
Because of where it's plugged in.
All
right.
What am I doing?
Put it somewhere so you're lit up, for crying out loud.
I think it's fine. Man, we're doing it live. That's the excitement of doing a live show, right?
Bro.
Nope, that's worse.
Why is it so dark in there?
I don't know. Does it matter? Doesn't matter.
All right, well.
People are tuning in to hear your chaotic...
Morning, donkey?
Yeah. Oh, what in the rick and frick is happening here? I don't know.
Well, geez, turn it off then.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it alone. See, look, it's fine.
Uh-huh.
It's fine. It's like
You're
this side
so
is day
dark.
and this side is night.
Right. There's like some kind of eclipse going on in there.
That's okay. People know what I look like.
It's a blood moon.
They know that I'm a handsome devil.
Oh.
See, Anthony said perfect. Thank you, dude. I'll give you your 20 later. Okay, so now that we're completely derailed,
Yes.
today's show is going to be about concert ticket pricing.
Oh.
Yeah. Were you aware that's today's title?
Well, I saw your thing last night. So.
Oh, okay.
But still, it's an interesting topic.
It is an interesting topic. But before we get into there's one holiday we have to recognize, and that is today is International Day of Awesomeness. Now, you wouldn't know by the start of the show that was the case, but here we are. Wow. Wow.
Why do you keep going into my left ear?
Well, I don't know.
It makes it quiet.
I don't know what's happening. We're just going to pretend. See, when there's a problem on stage, Mary, do you bring attention to that problem?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think the viewers know that that's the case.
Yeah.
There's a problem. Let's get the lights. I could.
Well, I could listen to you through this other thing, but then you're off by 7 seconds. So then you ask me a question, and then there's a 7-second delay.
Oops, it shut off. How's that?
Oh, my God.
Look at that. Look how perfect that is.
It turned off.
No, see, you're on the delay. So
see?
No, that's too much of me. Oh, now my whole phone is freaking out. Okay, back to our regular schedule program. So I was going to talk about concert ticket prices. Concert ticket prices. What do you think of concert ticket prices, producer?
For where?
For anywhere.
Well, are you talking about the Knitting Factory or the Morrison Center or the Arena or Idaho Center?
Yes.
Or all of them?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I don't even know anymore.
You don't even know anymore?
No, because like it could be, I would say like, I don't know. It could be $50. It could be several hundred.
Okay, now why
wasn't Garth Brooks like $200 a piece?
I don't remember.
I just remember I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to Garth Brooks.
Okay, that's what I want to get to. Okay, it doesn't have to be Garth Brooks specific, but why do you and I not go to very many concerts? Now, one, I don't go to a lot of concerts unless I'm playing them. Like if I'm the opening act or something, then I'll go. But you know what? Because for me, I'm so busy as it is with playing shows that even some of my favorite artists I don't go see, which I probably should go see. And I've gone to let's see, was that last fall we went to see LA Guns and Tom Kiefer? Was that last fall at the Morrison Center?
Yeah.
That show, I was like, I was wavering back and forth if I was even going to go. And it wasn't the ticket prices necessarily. It was like I was tired. But
I don't even remember how much the tickets were.
I was so glad that we went. It was a great show. And then me and my midline bandmates went to see Sebastian Bach on Friday night at the Treefort Music Hall. And that was awesome. And
those were like 53, you said.
Well, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
But how come you and I don't go to more concerts?
Well, we used to go to concerts all the time, and then we had kids.
Oh, man. That's what it was.
And then...
that's what it is.
And then in that time frame of having kids and not being able to go because we could never get a sitter, they became very expensive. And we didn't have the money to do it. Because it's like, if one person could go, cool. But to have two people to go, it's like, yeah, we have to take out a loan.
Yeah. But I want to talk today about why concert tickets are so high. I think there's two lanes that we can travel in. One lane is that if you're just talking about the band themselves, that those musicians aren't making money like they used to. And why is that? Do you have an idea? I know why, but I want to get your thoughts.
I don't know why.
Well, a lot of bands used to make money by album sales.
Oh,
right?
I see what you're saying. So they're having to make up for it.
Exactly. So in the world of streaming, even really successful artists who are getting paid a lot are making pennies on what they would have if they were actually selling physical copies of music.
Is this just your theory, or did you actually look that up?
Oh, I looked it up.
Okay.
Why do you think I'm off base?
No, I just want to make sure that this is not just a theory. It's
All right, so
actually factual.
Google gave me something to say.
Oh. Was it Google or was it chat?
Oh, maybe it's chat. Aren't they kind of one and the same?
Not those two.
All right. So here's my opening monologue. Are you ready?
Oh.
Am I lit up enough to read my paper? If you bought concert tickets lately, you've probably had the same reaction most people do when you look at the price and think, how did concerts get so expensive? Right?
Yeah.
So I think the general public will blame the artist, blame the video, blame the venue,
blame the label,
the ticket company. But the economics of touring have changed dramatically over the past 20 years. I'd say it's even been longer than that. Tours are almost like promotion for the album, right? That's true. Like when Def Leppard Hysteria came out, that album came out, and then they did a tour to support.
They all do that. They all,
right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of the model.
Yeah.
And today's model is flipped. Streaming pays very little,
unless you're Taylor Swift.
Well, it's still for her. I mean, imagine if she was selling physical copies of that same music.
Well, she does.
Okay, well, Taylor Swift is, you're talking about the most successful artist in the world, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a word for that. She's an anomaly almost.
Anomaly.
Right?
Well, there was that whole video that came out like a year ago. I think it was a year ago, about Spotify and streaming and that pyramid of
how artists get
paid, and how Spotify was going to change how artists got paid, and that you had to have, I think it was
1,000 streams per song.
1,000 streams per song to make any money.
Yes.
And so all those pennies that you were making previously, that now if you hit 999, you don't get the money. It gets divided up amongst those top artists that are in the top like 1%.
Yeah. Yep.
And that, I think that's really bad. That's wrong.
So if we had like Midline had a song that got 500 plays or 500 streams, we're not going to make any money on that because we didn't hit the 1,000 stream requirement. Correct?
Right. But the top artists will get that little bit of money you would have made. And so when you consider the vast majority of that pyramid are artists like Midline and whoever, that's a lot of money that's going to add up and get put in the pockets of the people who are already selling, millions of streams.
And that's why a lot of artists have been so furious with streaming platforms. I feel,
well, that's Spotify.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes, and maybe I'm part of that, where we feel like, well, we just want people to hear our music and we're not worried about getting paid. Although it's nice to be paid, right?
Yeah.
So every quarter, Midline will get a check from CD Baby or whatever for like $30. And that's a good quarter for us. Woohoo! We made $120 this year in streaming. Now Midline can't operate on that, right?
No.
When you consider it costs almost $1,000 to have the song mixed, right?
Yeah.
And that's with us doing so much of the work on our own. So not coming out of pocket necessarily to go record, where a lot of bands don't have that opportunity. They have to go to a recording studio, or they get to go to a recording studio and do all of that. So it could cost a lot of money to get a song ready.
Yeah, well, I don't know a number, but like a lot of artists are doing the more of the in-house studio thing.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to these big, huge studios as much as they used to.
Well, there's no budget for it. I mean, the music industry kind of crippled itself in a way.
So I'm looking at Midline on Spotify.
Oh boy.
Which could be a better situation here. But your top streaming song is Ghost.
Wow, it is?
The Way I Know You doesn't have any numbers yet. I guess maybe you haven't hit. Have we not hit the 1 month mark yet?
No,
we haven't. So Ghost has
mark.
Ghost has 12,899.
Wow.
So you're making some pennies on that one.
Yep.
And then Onward, Mailman, and Promise Me are in the 1,000 range. So Onward's 1,201, Mailman's 1059, and Promise Me is 1191.
Wow.
The rest are
under 1,000.
Yeah, they're not even showing. Yeah. Because you're not going to get paid.
Did you just yawn on air?
No, I said because you're not going to get paid.
I thought you said because you're not going to get paid.
I didn't yawn. I'm coughing though.
Right. So Ghost has 12,000, you said.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. I don't pay attention to Spotify. I know that Anthony does. Anthony pays attention to Spotify. And maybe JB. JB's kind of the number watcher on
the number watcher.
Well, yeah, he's the one that makes sure our music all gets out there.
Right.
That's JB's job.
I'll see if I can figure anything out on.
Well, we're getting pretty far into the weeds of that.
Are we? See, on iTunes, it used to show you like how well it was doing. Like it would say, you would see like almost like a little bar graph type thing, like back in the day, and it would say like, oh, you could tell that like, oh, this is their big hit.
Yeah.
But now it's just a little star, and so you really don't know. And the star doesn't really. Like, there could be other songs that were huge hits for an artist, but they didn't meet the star requirement, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know either. We should probably dig into that a little bit more so we can understand.
I liked the little graph thing that showed you, like, oh, this was a popular song. It just wasn't as popular as this one.
Well, it seems that no matter what, if it's social media or these streaming services or whatever, they're constantly changing how they keep track of stuff and keep you guessing on how the whole thing works, right?
Yeah.
It used to be when like I do a live stream like this and it'd be on Facebook, you could see at the end how many people watched. Now you got to kind of have to go back and dig through the data to find out. It used to just say right on the page, you had 300 views or 1,000 views or whatever. But now you got to go digging for it.
Yeah.
So I guess getting back to my point, though, is bands used to make money by selling physical copies of their music. Like there was a return on their investment to put that record together. It didn't matter if you were an independent artist or if you were with a record label. Nobody's buying those things. But when you were able to buy physical copies of music, it seemed like it wasn't as expensive to go to a concert. So if a band needs to make money, which I hope that they do, I'm a full-time musician. I make money doing music through all the different avenues I do that in: teaching, recording, and playing shows. And then there's some other stuff that's starting to kind of add to that revenue stream as well, but I don't want to get stuck talking about that. So, and just the cost of going on the road. Just think about, you're driving your car, like we have a minivan.
With 313,000 miles on
313,000 miles on our minivan. How often do you put gas in that car, Mary?
On average, once a week.
And how much does that cost?
Well, it's going up.
I know it's going up.
I don't know, around $40.
All right. Let's
40,
just say,
45, I can't remember.
Let's just say 50 because that's an easy number to work with.
Okay.
So $200 a month just to drive around town and doing all the things that we do, right? Taking kids to school, picking kids up from school, all our running around that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, now imagine that's a tour bus.
I can't even guess how much it costs to fill those up.
Right. So I don't know what okay, well I can. Back when Midline was touring a lot, we had a van, we had a conversion van for a while, we had a motorhome for a while.
Yeah, the motorhome was like a couple $100.
Yeah, so that had a 90-gallon tank. So $320 to fill that thing up. Yeah. Yep.
Says a full-size tour bus with diesel typically costs over $1,000 to $1,500 plus per fill up, as the tank holds 200 plus gallons.
Yeah. And how often do they have to fill that?
It says, and this says with fuel prices around $4 to $5 per gallon, but they're talking about diesel, right?
Yep.
And buses averaging 5 to 6 miles per gallon.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So let's just say that it costs a band and a tour bus just $1,000 in fuel to drive from here to Spokane or Seattle.
Well, this says 300-mile trip can cost $450 in fuel.
There you go. That's just the fuel. That's just the cost of that one bus, right?
Yeah.
So ChatGPT gave me 9 things most people don't realize about touring costs.
Oh.
So I think we should roll through those bullet points. And then I'm just realizing my computer is not plugged in and I got a low battery warning. So let's remedy this situation real quick. Stuck. Boy, this show is just...
Okay, well, while you're doing that, Thomas says, so because of this, does that mean smaller cover bands are the way to go for profit because they're not paying for studio time?
Well, I guess it's all about the end game, what a band is wanting to do. Right?
Thomas, I'm assuming you mean like to be in a cover band, right? Not to go see cover bands.
I think that's why a lot of musicians end up in a cover band or in a tribute band. There's typically, I mean, you can play in a cover band and play around town and make some okay money, and you get to sleep in your own bed at night, right?
Yeah. Well,
I as much as I love sleeping in my own bed at night, I personally have this goal of getting on with an already established band who isn't struggling to be out on the road, that needs a drummer. That's we've talked about that though so many times already.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so you don't have album sales like you used to, and just the cost of being out there with tour buses and with semi trucks and with production. You know, you got to move all your gear, and you got a stage and lighting and all of this production that has to be set up, and then the people to do that. So you have you have your own small little community of people that's on the road and they're traveling. So 9 points, 9 things most people don't realize about touring costs. Number 1, touring is now the main income for artists because streaming pays so little. And because streaming pays so little, there's a loss there that they're not selling music. So there's an imbalance, right?
Mm.
So let's just say like income from selling music disappeared. We're used to have that and touring and merch all feeding into that. So now you got this one thing that's taken away. That was a big, huge piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, a tour travels with a large crew, engineers, techs, drivers, stage managers, merch crew, and more. So I just mentioned that, right? It's like this small community of people that are on the road together. Mm-hmm. How many, Mary, do you remember how many people are part of Taylor Swift's
Oh,
crew?
it was so many. I don't remember.
Like 260 people.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, check it out. It's a lot.
Tour crew. Let's see.
Dun, 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 dun,
Well, 50 truck drivers, 15 backup dancers, 6-piece live band, 4 backing vocalists. Let's see.
Well, can you just add all of that up?
Well, I'm trying. But there's like all the people that set up and all that. I'm not seeing that number.
Well, we'll just keep moving as you look.
Okay.
So number 3 would be transportation is expensive. Like Mary looked up buses, $450 to go. What did you say? 300 miles, 400 miles?
300. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you got a bus and then a semi truck, the fuel for that. If there's airline flights and hotel rooms, like all this stuff's adding up to a large number very, very quickly. Number 4, modern concerts carry massive production, LED walls, lighting rigs, staging, and automation. Now, some people might say, well, is that all necessary to put on a show? No. But, I mean, if you're a touring band on that kind of a scale, I think the audience has become maybe subconsciously expecting those things, right? They want to see a cool show. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm still looking it up. I have to actually read,
What? No. No. So then, let's see. Number 5, you have venues take a percentage and also charge for labor, security, insurance, and staffing. So wherever the venue is,
it just says it's over 100 people. I don't remember how many it said in the movie.
Yeah, so in Taylor Swift's documentary, I thought they said there was 260 people that were in total that were traveling with that whole thing.
I just know it was a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people to pay.
And then she shared $197 million in bonuses with all of them.
Yeah. And there's a guy in town. His name is also Fred. He used to be part of the Midline crew in the early 90s, and he has been out on the road with Taylor Swift. I'm not sure what his job was, but I know that he bought a house thanks to or his bonus that he got from working for Taylor Swift allowed him to get a house.
Yeah.
Buy a new house. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So she's taking care of her people.
Yeah.
Right?
She said she had said that the more money the tour makes, the more that they will get paid.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Do you know what the average cost of a I don't know, is there general admission tickets for Taylor Swift?
Well, probably the ones that are like up in the seats and stuff.
I don't know. I don't know how much that costs. I'd be curious.
How much is a Taylor Swift concert ticket? Oh.
$800? $1,000?
Well, I had a friend go and she told me that their tickets were $700 a piece.
Okay.
But this says Taylor Swift era's tickets are highly exclusive, with median prices surpassing $1,550 and frequently reaching thousands on the resale market, while original face value tickets range from $50 to $1,000. Secondary market tickets cost between $700 and $7,000 per ticket.
Oh, wow.
Depending on the venue and the seat location. Yeah. So like I have another friend who a friend of friends. His friends had bought tickets. It was somewhere here in the States, and I can't remember where. It was like, let's just say Denver. Mm-hmm. And they were seeing how like reselling them, like, on Facebook or whatever, was just like going through the roof. So they sold their tickets on Facebook for way more than they paid for them. And they were able to buy tickets in France for way cheaper. Wow. So the amount of money they made off of their sale of their Denver tickets paid for their trip over there plus their tickets.
Would that be considered scalping? Ticket scalping?
I don't know. Isn't scalping where you buy up a bunch of tickets and then you're selling them for?
I remember I'm sure any of us, at least locally, remember like the Pavilion was the place. The Pavilion at Boise State, which is now like Extra Mile Arena, I think is what it's called. When bands would be coming there, you'd always hear about, oh, don't buy tickets from the guy on the street.
Yeah, because it's like your $50 tickets are now $100. I remember people selling. The scalpers were out front at the Tacoma Dome when I went and saw U2 in '92, and U2 was they were. I don't know if they were. I don't remember their story, but it was something similar to like Pearl Jam, where it was like, well, but with U2 it was like they were trying to prevent people from scalping tickets.
Yeah.
And so they wouldn't announce on that tour. It was the tour for the Octung Baby album. They wouldn't announce in advance when tickets were going to go on sale for that venue. They would do it that day. So like I did a lot of skipping of classes in college that semester because the rumor on the radio would be, oh, tickets are going to go on sale. And then they didn't.
Yeah.
And so I'd be like sitting by a phone waiting to call in. But yeah, but still, when I got to the concert, there were still people out front
and
selling tickets for twice the price. They did that with
T-shirts too. Like people would be selling T-shirts in the parking lot.
Oh yeah,
they weren't even affiliated with the band anymore.
Right, they had like pre-made shirts. And that's a shirt I had, and I didn't realize that because I didn't know any better. But like we had just gotten checked into our hotel room, and the curtain was open on the window. It was one of those hotels where the door is outside, and it's like a motel. And this guy just comes up and plasters this shirt on the window for us to see, and we're like, ah. And so we all bought one of these shirts, and it's like it wasn't even an official shirt.
Do you still have that shirt?
I don't think so. I think I wore it to death. It fell apart.
Oh,
yeah. That.
Okay. Well, we could come back to the.
Well, I have to go, but I'll be back.
Oh yeah, you gotta take.
Yeah.
See, you're gonna drive our high mileage minivan across town to take our son to culinary school.
Yeah, I wonder how much it's gonna cost now.
Yeah, you could continue wondering about that, right?
All right.
I'm going to mute your mic until you return, or maybe I might be done before you get back. We'll see with my half dark face. So, yeah, number 5, venues take a percentage and also charge for labor, security, insurance, and staffing. Yeah. So all that stuff's involved at pretty much every venue you go to. They have to staff the place, right? And we'll come back to this one also. Number 6 is ticketing companies add service fees, facility fees, and processing fees, and because you used me fees, because you thought about me fees. We all know that we've bought tickets that have all of these fees that are stacked in there, and we don't even know why they're there or what they're going to. It's like when you get your I don't know, like your credit card statement or something, or there's some. Well, maybe not that, but I like streaming services for movies and things, right? There's always some fee. Like, what is this fee? I don't even know what this fee is. A processing, everything. Number 7, many tours now use dynamic pricing where high demand raises ticket prices automatically. So if there's a high demand for ticket prices, they start to get more expensive really quick, just automatically happens. Sounds like buying gas, right? Supply and demand. Number 8, tours require expensive insurance because of illness, weather, or travel delays can cancel shows. So there's a lot of risk involved, especially if something doesn't even happen. So they gotta cover those expenses some way. And then number 9, many mid-level artists barely break even touring and rely heavily on merchandise sales. Yeah. So going back to the days when Midline was touring a lot, we had about a 10-year period in our career from like 1998 through 2008, where we were playing on average 180 shows a year. A lot of that we made our runs through Washington, Montana, Utah, sometimes into Oregon, and a lot of runs down to Southern California. And somewhere in the mix of all that, we also went to Texas. We also went to Michigan and Minnesota and um, Michigan, Minnesota. What's the other? I can't think of the other state. Anyway, Wisconsin. That's it. Man, so much of that was put on credit cards that we just had this enormous credit card debt. And we had a friend of the band help us. Thank you, Mary, Wisconsin. We had a friend of the band help us pay that debt down with the, I don't know, it was like 22.5% interest that we were paying, and that we ended up paying this friend back instead of the credit cards. Man, that was a lot of money. That was we talk about losing your butt. That was very difficult, and that was even with getting guarantees from show to show to try to keep this circus rolling. It was very, very difficult to try to have money, and then just trying to sell merchandise was sometimes people just buying 3 or 4 t-shirts allowed us to eat something, to get food. It was high stress as far as finances went, and that was through that period of 1998 through 2008 ish, somewhere in there. Man, talk about playing nearly 2,000 shows in that time. We knew what we were doing musically. We just didn't know what we were doing from a business standpoint. Oh man, to go back in time with the knowledge you have now, right? That would be oh, so the producer brings up a good point. Let's put her comment up here. She said, I've never understood why venues take a cut of merch sales. Yeah, me either. Now, I would understand a venues, please listen to this. I don't understand if a band is selling merchandise and that band has their own people doing it. Why in the world are you allowed to take any percentage of that? Now, in the midline contract that we used, it specifically had a line item that said venues will not participate in the sales of merchandise, meaning that the venue would get no money from merchandise sales, and we had that written into our contract. And I've talked about if your band should have a contract somewhere over the last 3 years. All the old episodes of the Drummergy podcast are available online on my YouTube channel. So all you got to do is search Drummergy and you can find it. And all the audio is now uploaded on streaming services like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. So if you want to check that out, you can do the little searchy search for if your band should have a contract. So Midline's contract specifically said that the venue doesn't participate in the sales of merchandise. Now, on the other hand, if the venue is going to supply a person to run your merch table, then a percentage of the sales can go to that, and that makes it worth it, I think. And if they take 10%, so if you sell $100 in merchandise that night, they will take $10, right? Anthony says, and the venue not paying you for the band's set some of the time. Yep. Yeah. Now, our contract saved our bacon a few different times. I specifically remember being in Montana. I don't remember where in Montana we were, but there were supposed to be 3 bands on the show, on the bill, and Midline was the first one. And so we set up and we played, and there wasn't very many people there. And then the next band played, and then we were packed up getting ready to leave, and the manager of the club that night started freaking out, like thinking we were going to play again. And I'm like, no, this is our contracted agreement, which of all the places Anthony says in Butte, Montana. Yeah, probably. That was one of the shows I personally didn't have a copy of the contract with me, and so we had to wake up Mary in the middle of the night and get a hold of her. Now, that's a whole nother side story. We won't get too far into that, but Mary had to fax a copy of that signed contract back to the venue because we had an agreed amount that we were going to get paid. It was a guarantee, and this person was throwing a fit because they weren't the ones that booked us. Some other manager did, and I said, "Yeah, we'll be happy to play again for an extra fee that we would do that." And they threw a big fit, and they had a pretty big crowd of people there. And so, just because we were being business smart, we ended up not playing that gig. We weren't going to play twice for half the amount, which that's what it ended up being because we'd be doing 2 shows instead of 1. Any rate, that's where a contract saved us. Having a contract is a good idea. Make sure that there's no confusion and that everybody gets what they're supposed to get. So that's a little side note there. But Mary talking about venues participating. Now, we were playing a show in Spokane, not we Midline, but we Cliff Miller Band, and Cliff had it arranged that the venue was not going to participate in a percentage of the merch sales, and he had all that in writing. And after the show was over, the manager that night came up and said, "Let me know how much you sell because we're taking a percentage." And Cliff's like, "No, you're not. Here's proof. Here's proof that that's not the case." And so there was this weird little sort of tense moment that was happening. And but Cliff was right. He had that information, and no, the venue did not take any percentage of the sales. So yeah, I think it's a really good idea to have that worked out beforehand. The other thing with merch sales is sometimes the other touring band, like they're the headliner band, sometimes you have to price match their merchandise, which is typically not a big deal. So if you're normally selling a t-shirt for 25 and the headlining band is selling their t-shirt for 30, then a lot of times you may need to prepare to match their sales. Lindsay McDonald is here. Fred brings so many great points. I had a band leader with no contracts and he just did what he wanted. The band members didn't get the tips, but he did. One guy kept handing him dollar bills to keep playing another set. One guy kept handing him. Lindsay, I lost exactly what you're saying there at the end. Yeah, so somebody kept tipping the band to keep playing, and then that guy in the band kept it. I think that's what I'm understanding from that comment. $100 bills. Ah, there you go. One guy kept handing him $100 bills to keep playing another set. Man, how many sets do they play? I used to play in this cover band, low dough cover band, and 5 45-minute sets a night. Oh, I also toured with a cover band from Marquette, Michigan. That's in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and we ended up, the end of that tour for me ended in South Carolina, where those clubs stayed open till 4 a.m. and we played 1 week, 5 nights, I believe, if I remember correctly, 7 45-minute sets. Oh. Oh, that was a long week. That was a long week. But at any rate, yeah. So I mean, if you wanna make money being a musician, you got to be business smart. You got to be business smart. But where this whole point of this was talking about, yes, you get very tired playing 7 45-minute sets. Although I would rather do that than dig in the dirt and put sprinkler systems in. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. So just the travel costs alone to move a band, even if you're a band that's traveling in a van with a trailer and you guys are doing all your own tech work. So say you have a band and a sound guy. That's what Midline had. So there was a period of time where it was the 4 band members and 3 crew. We had a drum tech, a guitar tech, and a front of house sound guy. So 7 of us on the road in a van with a trailer and relying on production provided by each venue and having a writer that, like a tech writer, that our sound guy usually dealt with, that making sure we'd have the right sound equipment, making friends with the house sound guy and those kind of people and the local stagehands and all of that kind of stuff, all really, really important. But that's a really scaled down thing because you're not carrying your own sound and lighting and staging and all of that. There are many bands that do and have some stuff, but there's always your operating costs have to be covered. Plus you want to make a profit, right? So you got to charge accordingly to meet your needs, so to speak. That's what's got to happen. Now, on the other hand, ticket fees. So I asked ChatGPT, why are people upset with Ticketmaster and other online ticket services? And that's where some, like Ticketmaster and, gosh, is there another one? I can't think off the top of my head, where bands have been pushing back on these services to try to keep those costs down so that your fans of the band can afford to come see you. Now, I mentioned at the top of the show that I went and saw, me and the boys in Midline went to go see Sebastian Bach play Friday night at the Treefort Music Hall. I guess unless whatever show you're going to, you're wanting a specific seat to be in, a specific part. Like the Knitting Factory, for example, sells tables for most everything, I think, now. And so, or the VIP area where they're selling tables and those cost more to have, pre-buying those may be important. And we can go through a lot of the fees that are associated with that. Now, for me to go see Sebastian Bach, I was only interested in general admission. I didn't need to sit. I just wanted to be like, just in the audience. Lindsay, we did not open for Sebastian Bach Friday, but the band has opened up for Skid Row many times over the years. And the first time we opened for Skid Row was in 1995 on their Subhuman Beings tour. And that's when Sebastian and the original lineup of the band was still together. That was a really cool show. And then we played with Skid Row many times with like different singers that they had along the way. All really great experiences. So at any rate, I went to buy my ticket online for the show, and it said, I don't remember what the service was on that Treefort Music Hall was using, but I didn't have the app. I mean, you could download the app, like not downloading an app's not a big deal, but it said this ticket will cost you $53 and some odd cents. I don't remember what the cents were, but that this is the price you're seeing. That's the price you're going to pay. This is the price with all the fees included. It wasn't going to keep adding up as you went through the process, which a lot of ticket services, that number keeps getting bigger as you get closer to pressing buy, right? So I thought, maybe I'll just buy it at the door. Like sometimes day of show tickets are more expensive than if you pre-buy tickets. But the show wasn't sold out. They sold a lot of. I think there was like 600 to 700 people there. So when Anthony and I got up to to pay, they said, "Are you using cash or card?" And they said, if you use card, it's $42, and if you pay cash, it's $40. And so that was a pleasant surprise in this world of buying tickets. And I'm like, okay, so it's costing me $40 to go see Sebastian Bach. I know I'm going to see a really great show, and it's $40. And that, to me, seemed like a bargain price in today's climate. James Harrison's here. He said, back in the day, I saw Blue Oyster Cult, Rush, and Angel for $12. Can't imagine the cost of a current Rush ticket. Hundreds of dollars for a current Rush ticket. James, I'm trying to remember, and I know that Rush is probably going to add more shows as they go, but I know that they're supposed to be playing in LA on June 7th, which is my birthday. And I thought, oh, how cool would it be to go fly to LA and go see Rush? And then I think the tickets were like, I don't know, like almost $600 a piece plus flying there. I'm like, oh man, we're going to be like $2,500 into this whole thing. So I love you, Rush, but I'm not going to go see you because that's just like, man, my pockets aren't that deep, so I'm not gonna go. Not gonna go. And I know that some people bought shows or bought tickets for the show in Seattle. Yeah, Lindsay, I'm curious to how Annika will sound with the band, and I know that they're doing other things like having a keyboard player and maybe some other people on stage. So I think it's going to be a totally different animal than just the three guys. Well, just than Alex and Getty and Annika. So, all right, so let's get into the ticket fee side of things, and this is probably where most people have their hang up, I would assume. Yep. James says Live Nation and Ticketmaster just settled some deal after a congressional hearing. Yep. Those businesses had to be dealt with. So people are upset with companies like Ticketmaster and its parent company Live Nation Entertainment, which is what James just mentioned, for several big reasons. Most of the frustration comes from high prices, confusing fees, and lack of competition. So there's really nobody else giving those Live Nation and Ticketmaster any competition. They kind of have the market cornered, right? So number one, fees feel outrageous, and they are. For an example, a ticket listed for $60 might end up costing $85 to $100 after fees. And I've experienced that too, where I've thought, oh, I'm going to spend the money and I'm going to go see a show, and I start going through the process of buying the ticket. And by the time I'm ready to check out, the ticket's almost twice as much as was advertised. And I'm like, nope, I'm not. I guess I'm not going. So I just delete everything that I was working on. So if I'm doing that, how many people out there are not buying tickets just because of all of those fees adding up? I know that it's been a while now, probably a couple years, where Midline was doing our own show at the Knitting Factory with a few other local bands, and it turned into this rock to end Alzheimer's thing that Big J from the radio station had put together. So it was kind of a fundraiser deal. My mom had bought 2 tickets at a table at the Knitting Factory. And I think by the time that she was done buying them, she paid like 1.5 times the amount of the ticket price with all the ticketing fees that were involved. And then she ended up not going. And I don't know why, but she said if I wanted to give those tickets to somebody else, I could. And so I did. I ended up giving those to somebody else. But I said, Mom, that's a lot of money. And she's like, well, it's going to a good cause. And I'm like, none of those fees are going to the Rock to End Alzheimer's Foundation. None of them. So that was one of those things where it's kind of like, I don't know. See, Lindsay says, yes, it's too expensive for concerts. So Yeah, a ticket listed for $60 might end up costing $85 to $100. So typical add-ons include a service fee, a processing fee, a facility charge, order fees, and fans feel the advertised price isn't the real price, which creates distrust. Yep. The Sphere in Las Vegas is $700 a ticket. Is that just for pretty much anybody there, or was that a specific artist, Lindsay? I would assume everything in Vegas is high price like that. But maybe the Sphere is more just because of the experience that they're creating in that show. Still, I might have to walk past the slot machine, and you don't even pull handles for slot machines anymore, right? You put your credit card in or whatever and press a button. It's like, can we suck any more joy out of entertainment by keep removing the actual experience? Now, Mary says when someone is desperate enough, let's put Mary's comment up. When someone is desperate enough to see that artist that they love so much, they're going to shell out that kind of money. Yeah, I guess that is true. And then Lindsay says the Eagles are there, but not sure the price, but it's expedited. Yep. Yeah. And Mary said perceived value. Yeah. Yep. You know, some of our favorite artists are getting older. Like Mary and I were talking every once in a while. It's like, man, Prince would have been awesome to see live in concert, or Michael Jackson would have been. Like, these people are passing away, and so your opportunity to see some of the greats are going away. So, do you go see those bands before they're in that situation? I think a lot of people want to have that happen. Maybe age has something to do with it too. You know, I'm not in my early 20s anymore. Can you tell? Where, you know, I'm not paying for a mortgage, and I don't have a family, and not married, and you could spend some money on yourself to go see a concert. Not the case anymore. Lindsay says, see the people while you can. Yep, I agree with that. So number 2 reason with this Ticketmaster thing, in 2010, Ticketmaster merged with Live Nation, and the result was Live Nation Entertainment. This company now promotes tours, owns or controls many venues, runs the ticketing system, and because of that vertical integration, critics say artists, venues, and fans don't often have another option. And this ties in with what James's comment was the U.S. Department of Justice has even investigated whether the company abuses its market power. Yeah, and I would assume that they have, or they wouldn't end up in this congressional meeting. Dynamic pricing, I had mentioned before on the other page here. If demand spikes, the prices go up automatically. And a famous example happened during, to Mary's point, ticket sales for Taylor Swift's Eras tour, and fans saw tickets starting out at $150 and jumped to $800 plus within minutes. And James says, kind of bouncing off of what Lindsay was saying, he just looked it up. Metallica at the Sphere tickets range from $700 to $3,000. And I'd be curious, are those the prices before all the fees are added on? I'm going to assume that those are pre-fee pricing. So many fans with the Taylor Swift thing were being price gouged by an algorithm. So the computer's just doing that on their own. And then scalpers and resale markets, another issue are bots buying tickets instantly. So to Mary's point, like when she wanted to see U2 on the Octoon Baby tour, is that the band stopped announcing when tickets would go on sale to prevent people from buying a huge number of tickets and then reselling them. Well, now you got bots doing that. And Lindsay says the Taylor Swift tour is the most successful tour ever money-wise. And it is. Yes, you're correct on that. Now, I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan. Like, her music to me I don't really resonate with her music, although her production is excellent and her tour production is everything that she's done has been exceptionally well done. And that's why she's so successful, right? Yeah, scalpers are the main thing. Just like I'm saying here, Lindsay, about bots buying up tickets and then resell them at huge markups in secondary markets. That's the other thing is like I've heard this talked about locally with some of the venues are second or third party ticket outlets selling tickets. So does that? I'm not completely sure, but is that like where bots bought up those tickets, and so now those secondary markets have tickets to sell, and the prices are way more? I try to deal as directly with the venue as I can. For like I just said, when I went to the Treefort Music Hall, I just bought my ticket at the door and I paid cash, which ended up being almost $14 less for my ticket than it did if I would have just bought it online. So I just circumvented all of those fees, and it was great. It was great. And it was a pleasant surprise. Like I was like, oh man, it's $53 online. It's probably going to be 60 at the door, which I was prepared to pay. So it was a really nice, great job, Treefort Music Hall on that. Number 5, website crashes and bad buying experiences. When huge tours go on sale, the system often melts down. And so during the Taylor Swift ticket launch, millions of fans waited in queues, and then the site crashed repeatedly. So even people that waited for an eternity, it seemed, to be in line to buy their tickets never even got to get tickets because the system failed. And so here's where it's starting to align with what James said, is that event triggered hearings in the United States Senate about the ticketing industry. And I know that Pearl Jam is one band that stands out in my mind that really stood up to these ticketing things. Now, I don't know 100% with 100% accuracy, but I think that some bands have tried to stay 100% in control of ticket sales. Like you buy the tickets for the show through the band's website. Like that's what I heard was starting to happen, and if that's the case, I think that's amazing. Like trying to keep as many hands out of the pie as you can. The more hands that you have in it, the higher the ticket prices is going to be. And touring is expensive enough as it is with our just the cost of moving this little city from one town to the next, right? So, yeah, if bands could be in control of their own ticket sales, then that's a pretty amazing thing. But so artists often get blamed, but it's complicated. Fans think artists set ticket prices, but the reality is more complex. So you got your tour costs, which we covered, like trucking, crews, lighting, video production, venue costs, insurance. Promoters, venues, and ticketing platforms all take cuts. So while artists do influence pricing, they're usually not the only factor. Let's see. Fans feel the system is expensive, opaque, and controlled by too few companies. So that's where they, I'm gonna have to look up in greater detail what James was talking about with this congressional hearing that happened on Ticketmaster and Live Nation on what the results of that are going to be. It just seems like that's really heavy-handed in what us consumers are paying in order to be able to go and enjoy this experience. Let's see if there's anything to add to that. I don't think so. But like I said a moment ago, it was a really great great surprise to go to the Treefort Music Hall and to just pay cash to walk in. In fact, I've been a participant in the music scene for a long, long time, and with all these different venues in town, and made friends with people that work at these venues. And every venue has its pros and cons to it on the success of the show and how you may or may not be treated. And sometimes it depends on if it's your own show or if you're the opening band. There's all these different dynamics that come into play. Me going and seeing Sebastian Bach Friday night and going to the Treefort Music Hall. I'd never been to Treefort Music Hall before. And I don't know if this is always the case, but it was probably one of the easiest venues to walk into, as far as the staff was extremely friendly and very helpful. You didn't feel like you're entering some prison system. It was a really great experience. It you walk up and they're like, "Hey, how's it going tonight? Can we see your ID, please?" If you're drinking, and if you weren't, they didn't care to see your ID because they'd put a wristband on if you were over 21. And going through security was so easy and smooth. And the people at the box office were extremely friendly. It was just a really great experience. So thank you, Treefort Music Hall, for being outstanding, making that an outstanding experience. Lindsay says, I will say this: treating the owner of the venue like gold helps establish a great relationship, play a great show, and come back for more. Yeah, that's true with any relationship, right, Lindsay? Is being professional, being clear in your communication and what you're doing, being friendly in all of that, and just always doing that with everybody that you encounter. And because what's going to be what are they going to say about you at the end of the night? Man, Lindsay was here and played drums and it was awesome and it was a great experience. I can't wait to have that guy and his band back again. So I mean, right? That's what would be the good thing to happen. Not like, oh man, this band was here and they were terrible to deal with. But at the same time, venues, don't be terrible to your bands. I've experienced that many times myself, where it just seems like a venue is just going out of their way to have a bad day. Like what is happening? What is happening? Why is that happening? Oh man, there's enough challenges as it is playing music and being out there and doing your thing than to just have people just going out of their way to be grumpy and miserable and and just to create a bad experience. I love playing music. I want to have a great experience when I play music. So there you go. High ticket prices is a lot of the time is due to the fact that artists aren't making money the way that they used to through album sales, and just the physical cost of touring and having a production on the road. The prices of that are really, really high. The cost to play at the venue, the cost to have a place available for the night, from small clubs to a big arena, whatever that thing is that you're doing, there's a lot of money. So that money has to be recouped in some way. And where do they get it? From the people attending the concert. And then stack on top of that these online ticket companies adding fees and fees and fees and fees and fees and fees on top of that, making it a real stretch to be able to afford some of that. Now, obviously, people want to go see their bands, right? They want to go see their favorite band play. And I think Mary had made that comment earlier. Let me see if I can remember what she said exactly. When people are desperate enough to go see the artist that they love so much, they're going to shell out that kind of money. So, in a way, as long as people are willing to keep doing that, maybe there's not a lot of incentive to change the way that they're operating right now, other than bands like Pearl Jam, who might stand up for themselves with that and demand some kind of a change. Pearl Jam's in a position where they can kind of call the shots because of how successful that they've been, and thinking about us, the fans who want to go see them. So yeah, as long as people are willing to to go, desperate enough. That was the word that Mary used. Desperate enough to go see their favorite artist. They will continue to shell out that kind of money for that one-time experience. So I I'm not a poor man, but I'm not a rich man either. And so sometimes, man, some of those concerts would be a real stretch to go see. Like that would be a very special thing, right? Like I'm going to go see this band, and now I need to work some overtime for a little while to make up the difference. That's how that's working for me. I just want to remind everybody that the Drummergy podcast is sponsored by 12th Fret Music, located at 671 South Capitol Boulevard in downtown Boise, Idaho. And you can visit their website. Let's see if I can do this. Look at that. Look at that. 12thfretmusic.com is their website. Go check it out. Check it out and see what they have to offer. And I need to check in with Rob Ridgway on what they may start offering for the drummer. And Treefort Music Festival is about to happen, so that place is going to get really busy with everybody, all the bands coming into town. You know, I had Eric Gilbert on the show a few weeks ago, who runs the Treefort Music Festival. 560 bands he and his team are managing for this festival. So pretty impressive deal. Pretty impressive deal. So make sure you check out Treefort. Make sure you check out 12th Fret Music. And those watching on the Drummergy podcast Facebook page, thanks for joining. I'm so happy that now we can stream to that. Lindsay says, wow, yeah, man. It's a lot of bands to manage. And it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing. So it's I think Eric described the festival as a festival of discovery. So a lot of people discover new bands through the festival, and it's a great community thing. So lots of cool stuff going on there. Next week on the show, I will have 4 of my rockin' women drummers on the show. We're going to talk about women in the music business. And that's what we're going to do next week. So thanks for hanging out. I got nothing else to say. Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks, James, Thomas, Mary, for weighing in. Really appreciate your participation. And Anthony, we'll see you guys all next week. All right. Have a great day. Bye.